All right. Good morning to everybody. It's early here. It's about 10 till 8 a.m. on Sunday. So I hope you're having a good day. Sorry
All
for,
right.
yeah, I knew that was going to happen. I do this every time, y'all. Let me back it up. There I am. I have to make sure it's working. So I want to take a minute and do something that may not interest everybody, but it's something I've been wanting to do for a while. And what that is I want to, well, first I want to mention that there's a cool guest artist class coming this Saturday, and that is going to happen at 1 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Central, Saturday, April 22nd. I got my good buddy Joe Falisco, who's honestly one of the best blues harmonica players I know on the planet. And he happens to have a really, some specialized focus areas that he is just a superstar in. And one of them is is tongue blocking. He's a full time tongue blocker. And so when I wanted to offer this class up of Sonny Boy Williamson, number one, I've never taught it. Sure, I could have taught the class, but having a guy who's examined Sonny Boy's approach for years and years, and he's a full-time tongue blocker, he has come up with a great class where he's going to dissect the layers of Sonny Boy Williamson number one sound. And he's going to teach you a song study that he created that incorporates all of these various tongue blocking approaches. It's going to be amazing. If you go to my homepage on harmonica123.com and click on that, you can learn more. But what I wanted to do today, and I realize this might take a second to do, but if you click on Ronnie's classes at the top of my website, I currently have close to like 80 classes that I've completed that are now products that you can purchase on my website. And I've never done a thorough sort of discussing a thorough analyzation. I don't know what the word is. I haven't really talked about what these classes are all about. Some are obvious, it's a song study, but other ones need a little bit more explanation. And I often get emails from people that ask me, hey, can you recommend some classes, or what's this class about? Even though they've read the description, it doesn't really click. So today, what I want to do is I want to take a minute and I want to talk about all this stuff. And yeah, that's what I want to do. I just want to go through and give you kind of an explanation. I'll try to be brief on the ones that sort of make sense. So let's just do this. Hello, I finally got my phone open with the chat going. Good morning to everybody. I promise I'll come back. I'll give you some good stuff in my shorts. I've been way behind. I haven't been on YouTube in forever. So let's just jump right in. Obviously, there's a class Saturday, and that's Joe. On my site, you can add things to the cart, by the way, and when you do that, you have the option. Um, if you click on the product, you'll see the cart right here, and then you can just go to checkout. From there, you can click here to use your PayPal. There's credit card at checkout and all that business. But let's go stay focused on what's going on. Big Walter Horton, that's pretty self-explanatory. All these classes come with notes. They come with the recording afterwards that's embedded in the notes so you can follow along with the tablature. This is a classic tune that I just did recently with the great Big Walter Horton. The Dig 3 class was a class that focused on the music I released, and it taught some of the harmonica parts that I played. It's a lower cost item. It is a slightly shorter class, and it does come with notes though, and it's kind of cool because Jerry Hunt stopped in, who's also part of the Dig 3 configuration. The groove harp class was about finding artists and learning how they approach groove. So I covered Howlin' Wolf. You can see Jimmy Reed, Big John Rencher, and we learned some of their harmonica lines. And then I even taught you in this class a bit about my own approach to kind of groove harp. And so it's really focused around this idea of just players that come from slightly different perspectives, but the one thing they have in common. Let me mute. Hold on. Had to clear my throat. One thing they have in common is just they're just super groove players. So learning their approach to playing like just a single riff or two against a 12 bar and the way that they move it and how they leave the space, that's what this one's about. It was a fun class. Of course, classic rock is classic rock. You can click on these and just read the descriptions of what I'm covering, like the Doobie Brothers, Doors, Rolling Stones, all that. Ronnie's riff class is me just coming up with my riffs from the top of my head and teaching them to you. So then at the end, we created the tablature and I sent it out to everybody. So the recording will have all that. Q&A with Greg Eisor was just that. It was a session where we got to ask Greg a bunch of questions about his approach to playing. Greg's a phenomenal player, currently lives in Madrid, but also hails from Austin, Texas. He's one of my best friends. He's just a phenomenal player. Intro to third position chromatic. This class was all about just beginners. You know, I'm not a heavy chromatic player, but what I did was I laid out everything that I kind of do. I mean, essentially, which you can see in the description means that we covered some scale work, the pentatonic and blues scale, and I went through and played you and tabbed out some of my lines. We learned a little bit of the head to William Clark's Greasy Gravy on the chromatic. So if you're looking to get started with blues chromatic, that's kind of a cool thing. Hey, good morning, Ted. Again, if you're just joining, welcome. I'm kind of going through my classes. I wanted to have something on my channel that preserved me talking about what these classes are about. And that way, if I needed to refer somebody to some suggestions, I could just send them here. And it's kind of cool to go through these and just talk about them. Then Amazing Grace, we learned Amazing Grace in 2 different positions and 2 registers per position. So there's second position and first position, both lower middle register and upper register playing that you can work on in this class. Obviously, that's a beautiful melody. Everybody should know that. Front porch. There's 3 front porch, porch classes. There's 2 front porch and 1 back porch. This is what I want to take a minute and talk about. This is one of the most popular classes I ever offered. So part 2, I'm starting, basically, I should have started at the end of the list, but I'm starting at, what we're doing is going through the most recent classes. So obviously there's a part 1 to this, and there's also a back porch blues. So what do they have in common? These classes are designed to teach you how to do things like, I'm not prepared to play, but try to teach you how to play solo, in a 12-bar fashion. And there's a bunch of these. So each one has a different approach. Come with notes. I think it's an extremely valuable lesson if you're looking to learn how to play on your own. I think it's valuable for harp players to master emulating various stylings of 12-bar blues. And when you do this, it comes out in your improvisation. It just makes you a better player. A lot of song studies on my site. Little Walter, It's Too Late Brother. That's just a cool song. Obviously, on these song studies, I break down the songs or portions of the songs. And it includes notes. Same with What a Wonderful World. Played in cross harp. Louis Armstrong was the inspiration for that, of course. I realize this is going to be kind of tedious. Maybe you don't want to catch all of this. Maybe you want to hang out and just catch more of it. Maybe you want to ask a question in the chat. You can do that. Sonny Boy Williamson II, obviously, I'm teaching you some of my favorite riffs from this artist. That's what that's about. Now, there's several technique classes on the website, so it's kind of cool that this is coming up. This one's about practicing. So it's practice and exercises centered around technique versus just a class that would teach you technique. This one is about practicing technique and the exercises that we can do. So it's a slightly different angle. It's a good one to pair with what we'll see later, which is the essential blues harp technique. Junior Well Hoodoo Man Blues, who doesn't like that? Jimmy Reed. What did I do in this particular Jimmy Reed class? Big Boss Man, Bright Lights, Big City. Some first position, second position. That's what's going on there. The number 1 is coming up. Remember, I'm going backwards, so I'm starting at the most recent class I've taught and going backwards through these classes. So it's coming up later. The work song, but what I did on this is Butterfield versus Clark. They each recorded it, Butterfield in second position and Clark in third position on a chromatic. Obviously, all the tablatures there for that. Boogie Chillin', what a great CD. Sorry, Hooker and Heat. Great CD. Boogie Chillin's just a wonderful song study. It's pretty advanced. If you want some challenges, you're a pretty advanced player, check this one out. Had a blast doing this one. This was because Alan Wilson's got such a different approach on this. Developing licks is about how you actually, come up with licks and build them out. So it was kind of a conceptual class, but we walked away with some ideas as well as far as like concrete riffs. Um, and I did have a few submissions from students ahead of time where we built out their ideas. Technique-focused ear train is ear training where you hear it and you have to find it and play it, but it's all centered around various techniques. So there's a lot of these technique-oriented classes, but they have slightly different angles. Third position bass lines. Obviously, I'm teaching you some bass lines, but they're in third position. That was a fun one. If you want to get better at third position, you should be learning some of these. They're kind of a combination of these bass lines and sometimes horn line, influenced by horn lines. And you can just assume if I don't say that there are notes included. Jam and scale practice is a scale-oriented class. This one's been very popular as well. I teach you all the scales that I use. So second and third position, we're going through pentatonic scales, blues scales, and I you've got all the scales out there that you can practice with me, and some cool exercises as well. So if you're looking to get better at scale work, check that one out. I do sometimes offer sales through my website. If you're not on my email list, you go to the homepage and you can sign up. I realize this is a giant long infomercial. I'm going to get some hate comments in the section. That's okay. This again, I mentioned it earlier. It's kind of like I just want to preserve some of this information on my channel. Key to the Highway. Well, we learned Little Walter's version of this 8-bar blues. Key to the Highway. That's what that is. Bend heavy blues riffs are blues riffs where we often begin on bends and they're just riddled with a bunch of bending so that you're starting to get more mature and sophisticated sounding blues riffs. Or, so I obviously break down a bunch of riffs in that category. So when you're looking down here, these are the pages. There's 7 pages of total classes. So again, we're going backwards in time. We're going to older classes as we go along. Slow blues improvisation is just that. I'm teaching you how to play a slow blues and what are the approaches that I take. What else did I do in this class? Strategies for practicing. We did it in second position. Yeah, if you love slow blues, but you find the reason I did this class was because a lot of people were like, what do I do for a slow blues? It feels impossible to come up with a good solo. It's just very challenging. So that's what slow blues is about. George Smith, more third position. If you're looking to get into third position blues harp, this is your dude. You definitely want to check out George Smith. Tell you what, if you guys, I'll only do this for YouTube. Okay, so if you've made it this far or you're sitting here live, you're going to catch what I'm about to say. But if you made it this far in the recording, I will offer up a limited time coupon that I'll put in the video description towards any of these classes. Maybe I'll put it on sale for, I don't know, the rest of the weekend or something like that. No, it's Sunday, 48 hours or something. And it'll give you a discount, whatever I come up with, maybe 15% off. A couple classes you can check out, but check out the video description later. So if you're getting into third, you got to study George Smith, and that's what this one's about. It's on a diatonic. We did do that. I want to say we had 2 songs in this that we covered: Telephone Blues and Blues Stay Away. I did grab some ideas from Kim Wilson's version of Telephone Blues, which is phenomenal as well. Kim Wilson introductions class is literally about introductions to songs. When he brings in a song, how does he do it? What is he playing? And then we cover some of those. So this is a repeat kind of class. When you see technique again, these 2 are shorter classes. That's why they're slightly cheaper. And they only focus on certain techniques. The one coming up later, Essential Blues Harp Technique, is a full-blown cover everything. These are just what they list: vibrato, warble, hand technique. So if you want to just focus on that or just tongue blocking, you could check out those classes. Blues jargon, groove styles, and phrasings. This was an interesting class. I gotta jog my memory as to what we did. Oh yeah, more about the jargon, the terms that we use when we talk about all these things. This is something that's like scoping out and saying, well, wait a minute, I'm learning all these techniques and I'm learning to play some melodies, but what are the terms that blues musicians are using? 17 of the most important styles are covered. What else did I do? Second position riff and demonstrating various ways it can be played over those various grooves. But it's going to give you a lot of kind of breakdown of the terms that you need to understand the language so you can communicate more effectively. I think this class came with, I want to say it comes with a bunch of, I don't want to say it and be wrong. I think this is the one where I might have included some jam tracks, but it might not be the one. I got to come back to that. Classic little Walter riffs I selected from various songs and broke down these riffs. Same with the Gary Primich. I took some of my favorite Gary Primich riffs and broke them down in this one. And this one is specific song studies. So we broke down Daybreak and Feel Like Going Home. Those are great songs. So if you don't know Gary Primich, tune in to Gary Primich. These are packages if you want to buy multiple classes. No one ever seems to touch those, but they are there, at least for now. Super Harps 2, I did a Super Harps 1. There's 2 albums, and they're great players on this one. We have Carrie Bell, Lazy Lester, Ralph O'Neill, and Snooky Pryor. So we go through various songs and break them down. I should have started at the end or beginning, really. So there's Super Harps 1 doing the same thing, different players, James Cotton, Billy Branch, Charlie Musselwhite, and Sugar Ray Norcia, who's a monster. This gives you a package deal if you want to buy both classes. It's $10 off. So if you use your coupon on that, you get a killer deal. Visualization techniques. This is kind of a conceptual class helping folks understand how I use the visual side of my mind and how I would recommend to students that want to approach using a visualization technique or multiple techniques, and why building out that mental model of what you're doing and where you're moving can help so much with recall. So here are the advantages. It's a little more, if you're into that, if you're drawn and attracted to that kind of topic, you'll probably dig it. If not, maybe not. Horn lines on harp I loved this class. We broke down some really cool stuff from Fathead Newman and Jackie McLean, Art Farmer. We did Cool Struttin', Hard Times. These are awesome tunes. This was a great class. Some of these old ones get buried. That's why I want to talk about them. More third position if you want on Cristo Redemptor from Charlie Musselwhite. That's self-explanatory. Slide guitarist, I took some famous slide guitar stuff and I basically just broke them down on harmonica. We got Jim Lieben. He's got this cool song called All Corned Up. And the reason I covered it, besides him being one of the best living players, in my opinion, out there today, is that, and check out his CD with Joel Patterson because it's phenomenal. Just type in Jim Lieben, Joel Patterson. This song he recorded a while back is all inhale, all draw notes. And it's powerful to learn it because that's the essence of second position. This is really cool. Upper registers is basically just that. We focus on holes 6 through 10. I teach you some outlines of certain scale or feeding off scale notes that I use when I move above. And I don't know if I did it by position or if I stuck to second. Let's see what I did. We talked about blow bending, just all the things you'd want to think about, at least from my perspective. Yep, ideas in first, second, and third. So if you're struggling, I also give you tips on how to improve upper register playing by making adjustments, changing a few things, and making it easier. It's difficult to approach the high end. A lot of people have challenges with that. On the road again, well, Mickey Raphael is a phenomenal player. Plays with Willie Nelson. He's been his harmonica player for ever. I don't know, 45, 50 years, I think. And so he recorded an instrumental version of On the Road Again, and it's really cool. I break it down in this class. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Cool, Mark. Went to the festival this weekend. Panos Litos, hello. From Greece, cool. Ear training class recording was just ear training musical ideas. So I'd play it, you'd play it. Eventually, I'd help you understand it slowly what I'm doing so you get a chance to ear train without seeing the tablature first. This is a song study, trying to stretch my money, one of my favorite William Clark tunes. This one's a mix of various William Clark songs, obviously. And I pull riffs from various songs. As you can see, there's a nice mix of classes here. So if you want to get better at 12 bar, there's two classes that I've released on 12 bar improvisation. One's focused on, like I said here, 12 bar improvisation and training. The other one is structure, 12 bar structure, coming up in a minute. And the 12 bar structure is more about learning the structure, obviously. And this one is more about working on improvisation around 12 bars. So we focus on elements of the 12 bar, like variations, quick changes, and quick fours. Again, you're going to learn some terminology coming in from the 5. What are stops and turnarounds? So if you're looking to get deeper into 12 bar, this combined with the 12 bar structure would be good. Here's a first position class. I think other than the Jimmy Reed class, is one of the first focused first position classes. Big Walter Horton, Hard-Hearted Woman, killer tune. This one here is kind of like a summit. This was with an artist who is also a full-time tongue blocker like Joe Falisco, who did stop in this class for a hello. But James Conway is just super advanced tongue blocking. And it was I seem to recall, it was a fairly long class. He went through all the different tongue blocking approaches, took a ton of questions. That's why that's a higher priced item, has a guest artist, and it's also quite thorough. Developing speed. If you're looking to play faster, this is the one for you. Developing speed will allow you to build speed. And there's technique, there's skill you can build, and there are strategies you can use to play faster without applying more effort. It's quite the opposite, it's less effort. So that one's pretty cool. Blues bass lines, also one of the very most popular next to the front porch. You're going to learn a bunch of bass lines. Here are the examples you'll learn. Look at all these things that are covered in here, right? Walking bass lines of various kinds, box patterns, New Orleans style, rumba, funk. This is an important one. If you don't know how to play bass lines, it's going to influence a lot of your improvisation. And it's just nice to have a little piece of these bass lines to feed off of rhythmically in a support role. All right, my beginner and intermediate players, you should be studying Slim Harpo. This guy is like one of the most important harmonica figures from that swamp blues. And, he's a New Orleans guy. His music is beautiful. His playing is so awesome on these songs, Raining in My Heart and Back My Scratch, Baby Scratch My Back, sorry. That I cover two of his most popular songs in second position. Obviously, you'll have notes for that. Blending technique for musical texture is a class that's really important. It was pretty popular too. And what I did with this class is I showed you how I take techniques and I blend them into my playing to create more texture. And sometimes that means blending and combining actually two techniques. And sometimes it just means bringing it in around the single notes. So that's what we did. You can see the description there. This is important because if you learn a bunch of technique and aren't sure how to mix it into your playing, it's like, that's essential. So it's further showing you how to use technique. Harp Attack, what a great CD. One of my favorite CDs that I ever came across early on. Look at the players on there: James Cotton, Junior Wells, Carrie Bell, and Billy Branch. And this was one of my all-time favorite CDs. We went through a whole bunch of blues riffs from that CD from each of these artists. If you like Paul Butterfield, I got you covered. There's another Paul Butterfield, not just the work song, but we got Born in Chicago. And that was a really popular class too. Sonny Boy Williamson II and Kim Wilson each recorded 9 Below Zero. Obviously, Sonny Boy wrote it. And this is just a wonderful song. And we break down each of their versions. It's a very thorough class too. This is a great one. Let me just see something real quick. Yeah, you'll need a low F if you want to cover Kim Wilson's version. Such a good version. Please check that out if you haven't seen it. It's really good. All right. We're up to the back porch. So this was remember, we're going backwards in time. So this was the original, or no, this is the second porch class, back porch. This was all these porch classes have become really popular, playing on your own unaccompanied. What separates the back porch from the front porch is that the front porch blues, so I'll just tell you about the front porch now, is like what I demoed earlier, chords and bass lines. Stuff like that, working bass lines mixed in and bringing in legato notes and riffs between all that. The back porch is more about taking riffs and constructing creative 12-bar approaches. It's hard to explain. Sorry, my chest is not happy this morning. The back porch is more like this kind of stuff. So it's feeding off of like lines. So you're learning these lines. It's hard to explain. Maybe if I click on the product, it'll help me. Let's see. You just got to check it out. It's really cool. So I give you close to like maybe let's say 7 or 8 different grooves that you can play that are riff oriented. Maybe what I'll do is come back and do a video where I just extract. I think I've done it. Remember the video I released, the short, or it wasn't a short. It's called Shotgun Strut, and I uploaded that. Some of you might recall it. You can look it up on my channel. I think it's called Shotgun Strut or something that I put out. That comes from this class. So that'll give you an example. Amplified blues harmonica is everything about playing amplified, from setting your amplifier to gear to controlling feedback. It's very thorough. If you want to learn how to sing, this is part 2, but there was a part 1 as well with Andrew Duncanson. In these classes, I teach a little bit of harmonica and the approaches, like some Junior Wells. I think that was this one where we did some Junior Wells, but maybe not. Oh, we went through Terre Haute. We went through one of his originals. He sang it. I taught some harp. On the first one, I did some Junior Wells, and he taught a Junior Wells song. So if you are working on singing, which is really important for harmonica players, quite frankly. Pattern recognition. So this was a really cool one too, because it's all about just playing various patterns, like, or let's see, thirds, playing a little bit of interval work, using just some patterns that come up commonly for me, like finding patterns that can move across the harp that you can practice, that you can integrate into your improvisation. There's a bunch of examples and tablature to go through on that one. Position playing is just understanding, at least from the perspective of first, second, and third, what it means. A lot of people hear position work and they don't get it. Well, you can see this little chart in the right here. It shows you, the key of the song on the left and all the key harmonicas you need for various positions. But this is kind of demystifying what positions are a little further, and show you how to maybe consider how you'd use one versus the other. And if you want to work on focusing on 4 and 5 chord riffs, if you find those more challenging for you, that's what this class is about. Getting out of a rut and finding new ideas on the 4 chord and 5 chord, and not playing the same old thing. Little Walter's Blue Midnight, I love that song. You might find as you go, we're getting into the earlier things I did a year and a half, a year ago, maybe even longer. Some of these, the tablature is slightly different. I had a slightly different system, so just be aware of that. Blues riffs in motion. So I'm teaching you how to take the riff and phrase it over various styles of blues. That's what I mean by in motion. Like, how do you take one idea and transfer it from one to the other? That's kind of an important concept. Slow motion blues riffs are blues riffs that I play very slowly, and you have to figure out what's going on, and then we decode it together. But that idea of playing it really slowly allows you to really hear what's going on and hear the nuance, so it's slowed way down. More Little Walter. I love Little Walter. Can't hold out much longer. There's that 12 bar blues structure class. So if you're just new to playing blues and you don't know much about 12 bar blues, you want this class. That will help you a lot. Mastering breath control, obviously, it's all about breath control and how I work on it and what are the exercises. What are the benefits? How does that play out when you're actually breathing into a riff and playing something? Here's one of the most important classes, in my opinion. It was also an extremely popular class. I think, I could be wrong, but I think the majority of blues harmonica players are hybrid players. That means that they're using some puckering and some tongue blocking versus in a full-time tongue blocker and a full-time pucker player. I am a hybrid player. I always have been from like around year one on. I started implementing tongue blocking very early in my playing, but I never let go of the puckering. So I developed into a very kind of evenly mixed hybrid player. And that's what I teach you, is because there is absolutely an approach and technique to combining, fluidly, getting a fluid approach to now, you may not hear it, but I'm going back and forth with tongue blocking tongue blocking and puckering. So this is an important one. If that's your approach or you want to develop that approach, this is the class for you. There was the original Learn to Sing the Blues. We did Junior Wells, Messing with the Kid. And the final page, which again, these are the earliest ones I did. All these classes, before I go any further, were created on Zoom. Why is that important to mention? I deleted from my website, which was very painful, close to 300 classes that I had taught a long time ago. The quality of the audio and video on those old classes was terrible, and I didn't want them up anymore. The technology you needed to play them was terrible, and you couldn't download them. So everything I'm showing you was recorded on Zoom. The downloads are very quick. They're not too big, the files. You can store them on your computer. And that's what I recommend everyone does, is if you purchase a class, don't just stream it through the notes, download it. Bending Clinic. This was the most thorough clinic I've ever offered on bending. If you are looking to improve bending, that's your class. Obviously, it's diatonic bending. We did a bunch of stuff in that. This was one of the funnest classes I ever did. It was towards the beginning of the pandemic, I want to say, or shortly into the pandemic years in 2020. So we covered these songs. One in E flat, D, E flat. He does a lot on E flat. And Taj is one of my favorite players. He is different from everybody. He's an really important guy in the harmonica world. First Position Blues. I believe I covered various I took various artist songs. Look at all these songs we covered. All first position. Sonny Boy, Little Walter, William Clark, Gary Primus, James Cotton, Big Walter, Stevie Wonder, Snooky Pryor. So if first position's your thing and you're new to it, do not discount first position. It is so bluesy. Here's that Essential Blues harp technique. Why is it more expensive by $5? Because it's 2 hours and 45 minutes. It was a long class. I was exhausting. It covers everything from bending to tongue blocking of various kinds to warbling and vibratos and everything all in one. So there's a lot of value in that class. The Essential Blues harp language is not focused on technique, but rather some of the common stuff we hear come up. Riffs that come from first, second, and third that are kind of really inherent to the language. They're phrasings that are used by many different players. So a little bit of strategy talk on position playing and improvisation. This is a cool one. What else is in this class? A little bit of technique also incorporated inside of that class. Front porch. Here's that first front porch one, which was probably the single most popular class I ever offered. So You want to play on your own, start with the front porch 2, and back porch. Those all kind of go together. Harmonica gear is about harmonica gear, obviously. These are a little bit less expensive because I want to say the format might be different. For example, the country blues harmonica class with Nick might be preserved on YouTube, so you can't download this one. I don't know if I say that in the description or not, but I probably should. Yep, live streamed via YouTube as a private event. So it's pretty good though. I mean, there's a lot of stuff covered in each of these classes, but if you want to learn about all the gear, this was a pretty thorough class. And Nick was there for that one. And I want to say both of these are streamed to a YouTube or something else. Those are all my classes. Now, I tried to be efficient with this process and just give you the basics, but I've been busy over the last 2.5 years. This is what I've created over the last 2.5 years. And you can find all of them under Ronnie's classes. I've already talked about my memberships, but I do offer private lessons through Zoom. I do offer a gold and silver membership that allows you to connect on a Q&A stream twice a month. If you're a gold member, you get a coupon for the website every month. Plus, you can submit audio for feedback once a month. And those are the most important things on the site. And that's what I wanted to share with you today. And the sun is kind of like really killing me right now. It's at that weird time of day. So I hope you guys have a great Sunday. Thanks for bearing with me, allowing me to do this video where I'm just kind of going through my own stuff. I realize it's like a giant infomercial, but again, I wanted to capture a little bit of discussion on all of the offerings that I have on the website so I can direct people to this video later on. If they're like, well, what about this one? What about this one? So what I will do, I think, may not happen today. I will put timestamps either in the comments or video description so you can just click to a section based on the title of the class and hear a little bit of me talking about it if you want to go back to this video. Oh, thanks. Country Blues was a great class with Nick. Yeah, it was a fun one. Bob Pellegrino was also a great guitarist who joined us in that class to back us up. And yeah, it was really cool. That's what I got today. I will come back and I will provide some cool ear training stuff through the shorts or some other things. And, give you guys something to chew on. It's been a minute. I haven't been on. I'm exhausted right now. I didn't sleep last night. I went to bed really late and got up really early. I got some things I got to take care of today, but I wanted to come on and do this and say hello to everybody. I appreciate you being here and hanging out. Thanks for all the support over the years. If you've checked out some of my classes or taken a lesson with me, appreciate you guys. Thank you for letting me do what I do. Without you guys, I can't do it. So thanks. If you ever have questions for me, the best way to reach me is either the contact page on harmonica123.com or just shoot me an email at info@harmonica123.com. And thanks for being here. Oh, don't forget, I mentioned it halfway through the video, so if you made it all the way to the end of this stream, I will put a coupon code for 15% for 48 hours, maybe 36. That allows you to go through any of my classes and use the coupon. How's that? And hopefully some folks checking it out will be some people that have never taken a class. That's my hope. But if you're a regular and you see this, thank you for checking out my YouTube channel as well. Subscribe if you haven't. I'd love to have you as a subscriber. I promise I'm coming back. I've been absent for a little bit, but I'm going to become more active in posting. It comes in spurts. That's just the way it's been. All right, you guys, make it a wonderful day.